drifted further from your friends. Last I remember, I thought you were set to graduate, but I can see that you got other plans. Anyway, why did you drop out? Hail after the wind that lets me down. I wish the very best unto your kid. I get it, that's just the way that you wanna live. Cause I believe in a God who longs to fulfill. Why can't you see you're dying for me? Why don't you know? The one is no you get some time. Now I'm not wrong. You're right. You're right. Back for you, girl, that's not right. You're accusing other people who are living by your own set of rules and your lifestyle. I blame the devil and twist and what you knew was true, but I've still got your back. I won't give up on you. Can you see you're dying for me? Why don't you know? The one is no you get so tired. Now we're back for you. Back for you, girl. Your time, your move. This is your chance to prove. Your time, your move. This is your chance. I saw you shine. Christ and Savior. I walk in the world. With blind stars, blind stars, blind stars. Why can't you see you're dying for me? Why don't you know? The one is no you get so tired. Now I'm back for you. Back for you, girl, it's alright.
Hey, this is Lost in Society, and you're listening to the Lost in Society radio. We're taking this shit over.
Greetings, comrades. Welcome to episode 21 of Dying Scene Radio. I am one of your hosts, Anarcho Punk. With me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Mr. Bobby Burns. Say hi to the nice listeners, Bob.
How you doing, everybody?
Today, we actually have a special surprise for you guys. Not only is it going to be just Bob and I, we got such a great response from everyone after our last episode where we had on a guest host. That episode, it was Jenna Enemy from the Von Tramps. But we had really positive feedback, so we said we were going to try and get some more guest hosts on, and we duped Chris Fox into joining us for this episode. Say howdy, Mr. Fox.
Howdy, Mr. Fox.
There you go. See, you get it. Bob's always slow. He doesn't get it. He won't even say howdy. I've been trying for 3 years to get him to say howdy. He won't do it.
I think I said it once.
Yes. So welcome to the show, Chris. Thank you for joining us. How have you been, buddy?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing all right, hanging in there.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. And throughout the show, we're going to get to know you a little bit more. Through our combined might on this episode, we're going to be bringing you some of the noteworthy scene news from the last couple of weeks that you were probably too lazy to read, and playing some fantastic new music from emerging artists that you were probably too lazy to discover. Much like our intro song for this episode from Peoria, Illinois, that was Must Build Jacuzzi, which I think is pretty badass name. The song title was Smoke Rings, and the track was from the 2018 LP Last Place. Anybody get the reference? What's Must Build Jacuzzi? Anybody?
I have no idea. I thought you were drunk or really high when you were typing it in.
I was, but I'm pretty sure I got it right.
Yeah, no, you definitely did. I looked up the song, and that is the name of the band, Must Build Jacuzzi, which I agree with, by the way.
Yes, I think I should.
A slogan I can get behind.
I've got a sauna, no jacuzzi.
Nice.
That's a good start.
They were an interesting band to start with right off the bat, because in the last episode we had Millington, which was that kind of pop punkish emo ska band, and I had really never like this song that I picked was kind of more ska friendly and pretty standard. But if you listen to the rest of the album, I'm like, emo ska is a thing, and then you started off with this. I'm like, emo ska is a thing. Like other bands are doing it, and they even get a little bit more screamo than emo towards the end of that song there. So it's a thing. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's growing on me. I don't hate it, but it's just two things that I haven't really ever put together in my life.
I don't know. Like, I'm thinking maybe it's like the fourth wave ska. Is that where we are now? Fourth wave?
Apparently.
Or are we up to fifth wave? I don't know.
Sure.
It's whatever wave you want. Like Bob was saying, the reason I kind of led with that song, I liked it because it had a little bit of everything in that one song. It was like all encapsulated in one song, all of their talent in one song. It was ska, it was punk, it was melodic hardcore, it was, I think I heard a little bit of like heavy metal in there. There was some pretty trippy guitar riffs. Fucking great album all around. I said we're going to be playing new music. That album was actually from 2018, but it was in the inbox. It was just really low.
It's also new enough.
New enough. Let's go with that. So now's the time, my favorite part of the show, where we shoot a little bit of shit before we get into some music. And normally it's pretty boring because I just have to talk to Bob, but now I get to talk to Chris.
Thanks.
So I'm pretty sure he doesn't really have anything to say either, because Chris, have you left the house much over the past 2 months?
Not really. I've been hiking a bunch in the park that's behind my house, but that's about it.
Where do you live at?
That's about it.
I live in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, okay. What's the park behind your house?
It's called Hidden Valley Park, and there's just a bunch of like mountains and hills to roam around in. Big national park or federal or? It's just, I think it's a county park.
Okay.
Or, yeah.
Cool.
City park maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just been roaming around the mountains looking for whatever's up there.
Is it pretty hot out there right now or what?
It's been warmer this week, but today is nice and it's cooler and windy.
Yeah.
But I did not go on a hike today because I'm filming or recording this instead.
Awesome.
So.
And is that the same park? We'll go ahead and talk about it now. I saw that you were a field correspondent for the newest episode of well, go ahead. You talk about it. Was that the park that you were in? What was it?
Yes.
The Loud as Folk.
Loud as Folk. Loud as Folk is a monthly, well, when shows are actually happening, they do a monthly showcase of songwriters. My friend Spike has been doing it for many, many years. But since shows stopped, he moved it online, and we've been doing like online TV episodes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cheesy newscast.
The latest episode was there's been different themes for each episode. But yeah, we did a cheesy newscast. We had all kinds of insane cool guests. We had Stacey D, Jenny Cotterill, Lynn Lee, all from Bad Cop, Bad Cop. We had Brendan from Mercy Music. From Mercy Music, who are just a fantastic band from Las Vegas. If you haven't heard their latest record, it's been one of my favorites for the past year or so since I saw them in Reno.
What was the band for that last one?
They're called Mercy Music.
Mercy Music.
Really, really, really wonderful band.
We might have played them on here before. I can't remember. I know I've heard them before, and they are really good. Very talented.
Yeah, super good songwriting.
Yeah.
Let's see, who else did we have? We had Wanchi from Zeta, who are an amazing band from Venezuela by way of Miami now. Let's see, Yotem Ben Horan from Useless ID played a song. We had Ian Cook from Larry and S. Flask. Just the lineup on this latest one was incredible, especially for fans of punk rock.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. And our good friend John Underwood played.
That's right, John Underwood was there.
Can't forget Mr. Underwood.
Playing all the instruments at the same time.
Playing everything he could get his fucking hands on.
Yeah, he's awesome if you haven't checked him out. John Underwood, Bandcamp or whatever. Internet.
Yeah, I think he's finally starting to embrace social media a little bit more.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of live streaming as well. which is great.
And you've also been doing some live streams from your van, which you're recording from your van right now, but you've also been doing some live streams, seems like pretty regularly, like once a week, once every couple...
Yeah, something like once a week. The idea was to, well, obviously just to keep playing music and, like, exercise that part of my life, you know, so it doesn't just go away, because... you got to keep up on playing music to be any good at it.
Yeah.
So that's really, it's actually kind of fun and nice just to get, to play some tunes. But yeah, I've been recording them all and putting them on YouTube after the fact with better audio, and ultimately I'm going to compile them into a live record. Live from
the van.
Live on the internet. In the van.
Yes, I've been trying to chime in every once in a while whenever I see you're on, but it is spotty. I've been trying to catch. There's so many shows now that you have access to. I kind of float around and bounce between shows sometimes. It's kind of fun when you can't go to a real show. You have to find things that kind of make
some
you
days you're like,
whoa,
there's like 6 streams happening. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
It's like you're at a festival and you have to like run from stage to stage.
Yeah, exactly. So I upgraded my internet just so I could support more streaming music, and now my internet's slower.
Gotta love
Xfinity. So, Bobbert, what about you? I know none of us have really been doing much, so I figure we could probably just go around the horn and talk about how boring we've been and how we haven't left the house in months.
Yeah.
I know last time we talked to you, you had gotten called back off of furlough. Is that still, are you still working, or was that just kind of like a short term?
No, I am still working, and probably will continue working until things are back to regular, so that's nice. Let's see. I did get in probably 2 live concerts, maybe 3, but that was like 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago since we did the last episode. One of my friends, Dan the Man, he's in a band called the Silent Treatment Band. The Silent Treatment Band, and they're like country punk. He cool. He did a bunch of covers, and he's got a really crusty crust punk sounding voice, and so he just did an acoustic show, and then a memorial show for one of his friends, Casey, who passed away last year, and that was pretty emotional. So, but it was really fun to log on. I think that was probably one of the first shows I did, and then I have another one planned for tonight. We'll see if I'm able to make it. Anthony Green from Circus Survive and Seosin is doing some acoustic stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, I guess I'll check that out. You know what else I did? I watched the Post Malone Nirvana tribute. Did either of you guys watch that?
I haven't checked it out yet.
Fuck no.
I've heard actually good. I keep hearing good things about it.
So I don't know anything about Post Malone other than a friend sent me a song 2 years ago, and I'm like, this is not my cup of tea. It was an acoustic song, and I know he does like hip hop stuff and writes with Justin Bieber or something. And I am a Nirvana fan, and they played with Travis Barker, and so as soon as they started, I was just blown away. I mean, he full on went and put on the dress along with a few of the other guys that he was playing with, and he was just smoking and drinking the whole time, but his voice killed it. I did not expect it. Apparently, after I did some research, and he used to be in like a metalcore band before this as a guitar player, and so but I was blown away by his voice. AP, I don't think you like Nirvana, but Chris Fox, if you like Nirvana, I would say check it out. I thought it was really good.
Nirvana is like the reason I picked up a guitar as a kid, you know.
So you've heard good things. Like after this, do it. I kind of got the chills during the first song, and they picked a lot of like songs that you wouldn't normally pick.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I do love Travis Barker's drumming too.
What was that?
Was that the same thing that the guy? What was it? A singer from like a butt rock band or something that butchered one of the songs.
Puddle of Mud. Puddle of Mud.
That was terrible.
So bad.
Was that?
Dude, I watched it and I'm like, this isn't real. Someone had to like have dubbed over this making fun
it
of
was
the
like
band.
one of those Shreds videos.
Yes, I watch the Fish Shreds video all the time. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I like Creed Shreds. Creed Shreds is pretty good.
That's too funny.
Yeah, it literally was just like that. It was that bad.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
I was surprised that it got released.
Yeah, right? Seriously, I can't believe someone gave that the okay afterwards.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you can like see the other musicians like just staring at the guy like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, but to be honest, it was probably good for him. When was the last time Puddle of Mud was in the news?
That's true.
Never even heard a Puddle of Mud
news
song
is
that
good
I know.
News, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take it. So what else, Bob? Nothing? Did you ever get back to your projects? I know you had to put some on hold. Homeowner now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, slowly but surely we're doing some of them. I released the other podcast. I think we're like 5 episodes deep. I got to release one of them after this. And yeah, it's going well. Slow but steady. I think we're averaging like 20 or 30 downloads an episode right now.
Nice.
Right
and
off the bat.
What was that? What is it called again?
Wayward
I can't remember
Weekly.
the name of it. There you go. I knew it was something like that.
And it's, really more about like politics and social issues and stuff. The guy I do it with is, he's a doctorate of law or some shit. I don't know what he calls himself. But he just took the bar, so he'll be a lawyer soon. And
I like how on his other podcast he hangs out with lawyers. On this podcast, he hangs out with straight up trash.
I mean, look, it's about logic, and if you're a smart person, then it's good. And you've got some logic. You've got a good head on your shoulders. You know how to think straight. You don't spew a bunch of bullshit that doesn't make any sense, and that's what's important to me. So
sometimes I do. We'll see. I haven't really done anything. I did a little bit of a home improvement project. I actually just paid somebody to do it because
saw a picture of you doing something, and I was surprised. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, no, I'm pretty worthless when it comes to that. So I just pay people to do it.
Yeah,
which is like my solution for everything these days. I'll just pay somebody to do it. I don't give a fuck. So I paid somebody to do it. He made me do a little work because he was like, "This is ridiculous. You can do this job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to leave you my tools over the weekend. When I come back on Monday, I want this done because you're not paying me to do it." I was like, "Okay, cool." So yeah, I did that.
You ripped up the floors, right? Like in the bathroom or some shit?
Yeah, just around the front door.
Okay.
Here in Denver, we tend to track in a lot of snow, and it was warping the wood floors by the door. So I just ripped them up and left bare concrete. It looks pretty industrial.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Looks
I don't
like a
know
brewery.
shit about. Yeah, I don't know shit about houses. I figured it's utilitarian. That's really all I care about.
Yeah.
But the highlight, really, I think, since last time was. Remember, we did get one of Spike's songs on last episode. He sent an email with a list of songs.
Yep.
And I got to the bottom of the email because the first song that he had emailed me on that list was the one I went with because it was really good. And this episode, I was scrolling through that email for number one fan Spike's pick of the episode, and I scrolled to the bottom, and I noticed that he had wrote a little message saying that
a love
he
letter,
likes
if you
both
will.
of us. He likes Bob, he likes me, but he likes me better because I'm cooler. Those were his exact words. Like, I had no influence over this. So just so everybody knows, I am definitely the cooler of the two.
As long as he doesn't hate me, I'm happy.
Yeah, well, most people do. So
right.
You are
That's
definitely
why,
a little bit ahead of the curve with Spike.
Yeah, I've got one
because he
friend
doesn't
Ken.
know you too well. If you get to know him, you'll hate him. Trust me.
You also sort of released your identity. Are we releasing that on here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, nobody gives a shit. Everybody already knows who I am. I haven't posted to Instagram in a while. I got to kind of keep the traffic going, so I just posted a picture. I was up on the roof with my wife one day, and it was a kind of a nice day. It was the first nice day in a while, so we were up there just drinking, hanging out on the roof. And I got a new fisheye lens that I wanted to play with, so we were playing with it, and she got a good picture. So I figured, why not? Everybody knows what I look like.
I mean,
anyway.
But ever since I met you, that's been a thing. I mean, whenever I remember taking photos of you at the Rotten Blue Menace show, and getting your what do you call it, luchador? I don't know what it's called.
The luchador mask. Yeah.
Luchador mask. And I'm like, I like this guy, but he's a little weird. And now here we are doing a podcast. But yeah, that was like, your thing. And so I feel like you're departing from an identity that I've come to know and begrudgingly love.
Yeah, well, I'll still wear the mask when I'm doing you, Bob.
Uncalled for. Also, does this mean I have to continually edit your name out of episodes when somebody accidentally drops it?
Yeah, still no names. I'm good without names.
Okay.
Nobody needs my name. If you know me, you know me. It's fine, but no need to release names and everything. Nah. I'm good with that. Plus, I hate my name. Yeah. So other than
you have a good last name, though. I gotta say.
I must say it's not quite as good as yours, but you wear it. You wear your name a lot better than I do mine. Yeah. So other than just poring over the email, I swear to God, I read that email about 5 or 6 times. I went and told all of my neighbors. Yeah. I read it to all of my neighbors. I printed it off and knocked on all of my neighbors' doors, and I said, "Dude, you got to fucking hear this." So about the only other thing that I've been doing outside of reading emails, love emails from fans, is, and I'm sure you guys have seen it on Instagram, our buddy Jay Stone has been doing a lot of live Instagram interviews.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how, I have no clue how he does it.
He interviewed Dave.
Yeah, the first one he did, just like as a practice, he was like, yeah, I'm just going to interview him because if it fucks up, I don't care.
I do. I was jealous. I'm like, Dave doesn't want to come on our podcast, but he'll do Instagram Live with Jay. Fucked up.
We don't want that square on this fucking podcast. Yeah, but the interviews have been really pretty good, and I've been enjoying them. I want to know how he does them. He asked, like if we wanted to kind of get in on it. I was like, I can't wrap my head around that, but Jay's up in the Northeast, so he's got a lot of friends in bands like in the Boston area.
Yeah.
So he's been interviewing quite a few people, but he interviewed Michael Caine from Michael Caine and the Morning Afters, Rob Rufus, author of the new novel, The Vinyl Underground, drummer for Blacklist Royals and The Bad Signs. Then he's also interviewed a couple members of Rebuilder.
Get up, get on your feet. Are you half awake? Are you half asleep? My eyes won't stay open wide.
Rebuilder, who are pretty, I think we've had them on the show before too. They're pretty fucking badass, man. And
band.
Then he's also, probably by the time this airs, it'll be up. He's interviewing Eric Skippy Mueller of Pirates Press. So
Cool.
Head over to Instagram while we're trying to keep some traffic going there while there's no shows, because Instagram's really just our show photography, so it's pretty useless right now. So head over there. We're trying to drive a little bit of traffic, and there's some pretty cool interviews from people that are cooler than me and Bob. You get to hear other people interview. I think that's good. That's what I like hearing.
Maybe we could get Jay on our podcast and interview him, since Dave won't do it.
Maybe. I bet you he has a field recorder. Yeah. Nobody wants Dave on here. Jay's cooler.
Yeah, we'll
Jay,
interview
like I said, Jay's the one that gets us into shows. So.
That's true.
Let's do that. We can do that.
Okay.
But that's all we've been doing. I know we're pretty fucking boring, so let's go on to something that's not boring. Some fucking kick-ass music. Let's kick off this first block of music like we always do with Bossman Dave's solid gold lock of the episode. This is Stuck Lucky with Living Ghost.
Talk about some plans in a far off place.
split album, Facing Reality. That was Stuck Lucky with Living Ghost. It's Bob's favorite. Bob hates split albums, but that was a split album with Stuck Lucky and Still Alive. And that whole album fucking rips. So good job.
Yes.
Good
Stuck
job,
Lucky is a fantastic
quote
band.
unquote, Dave.
Yeah, you're living a lie, AP.
Dave.
I had nothing to do with that choice.
For all intents and purposes, Chris Fox is going to be playing the part of Bossman Dave for this episode. Good pick, Bossman Dave. No, those guys are from Nashville, Tennessee. And, I was thinking on this episode as I went through and did the layout, our bands are usually a little bit more globalized than this episode. We've got a lot of United States-based bands this episode.
We also have a lot of ska this episode.
That's Chris's fault. You shouldn't offend our guest.
I'm not mad about it at all.
No,
we're talking about the fourth wave and everything. Just gotta.
We're bringing it.
Yeah.
Let's act like we planned it, and say that we're kind of bringing in we're ushering in the fourth wave of ska with episode 21 of Dynasty.
That's right. We're on the cutting edge.
On Wikipedia in 2040, it will be the fourth wave or fifth wave, whatever this is.
Whatever one
Began
it is.
Coronavirus 2020 with the 21st episode of Dying Scene Radio.
All right, let's keep the train rolling. Next up, I alluded to it earlier. Number one fan Spike sent in an email a few weeks ago with a whole bunch of songs. This is another one of his hand-picked, curated songs. I think we're saying curated these days. So this is Spike's curated song of the episode. This is Catch and Release from Single Mothers.
I can't wrap my head around what you gotta want to leave. Why seeking the peace at least? Curl up and die on demand. It's the best 2019 can. I'm racing, no patience, no one's listening to any reason. All of your real trying to screen it with ease. You're coming down on me. Let me sink in your teeth. Let me sink in my teeth. Let me just catch and release. No crawling right into me. I just want you alone. All action, no patience. No one's listening to any reason. Curl up and die on demand. It's your only chance. Best plan. I'm racing. No patience. No one's listening to any reason. Curl up and die on demand. It's your only chance. Best plan. Get into me. Let me just catch and release. Let me just catch and release. Sing in my teeth. Sing in my teeth. Catch and release. Catch and release. Catch and release. Sing in your teeth. Mention yourself for anything else. Mention yourself for anything
Ooh, baby, some fucking hardcore out of London, Ontario. That was Single Mothers with Catch and Release. That is from the deluxe version of Through a Wall, which was originally released back in 2018. And the coolest thing I thought about that one, I don't know if you guys checked out their Facebook page, but their description says, with a rotating cast of musicians centered around a now sober ex-gold prospector, Drew Thompson, Single Mothers has evolved into an art project and collective rather than a typical band, with 20-plus members in and out. Each record has a different lineup. Bigger band than we normally play, but I figure that warrants a little discussion. What do you think about a different lineup for every single album that you released? And what's up? Can you make a living prospecting gold? That seems a little outdated.
Someone has to, I guess, because they still need to find it. But I don't know. I think that's what keeps them interesting if you listen to their records. What was that?
I think he just worked for Cash for Gold.
That makes a lot more sense.
That's what
it's just a fancy way of saying that.
Like a custodial engineer.
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
You're from Reno. You've learned how to sell yourself.
There's a lot of gold in these hills.
Apparently.
I don't know. The idea of the rotating lineup is interesting. Their albums are all very different if you listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
They have their 2014 album. I can't remember what it's called right now. And then Double whatever from 2017. That was actually in my top 10 of that year. And then this album, which didn't make it, but would have had I just got into it more. I had their 2017 album stuck in rotation, and then I listened to it. I'm like, gosh, they really changed. And then after like a year, I'm like, it was a good change. It was a cool change. So I know a lot of bands, I should say, individuals who kind of run a band will do those types of things to keep the band fresh and interesting. And I mean, I don't know how I feel about it under a single band name. I kind of think that sucks for the people who started the band with that person. But I mean, for the listeners, it's good. You get, a band that doesn't get stuck in the same rut of making the same music over and over and over.
Well, that makes sense. What about you, Mr. Fox?
I don't know. I think it's an interesting approach. If there's just the one main songwriter, then, finding the people who are right to play those songs at that time isn't a bad thing. The only example that comes to mind is Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
He often would have different groups just based on the album he wanted to make at the time. So, I don't know. I think it could work. I like playing with the same people all the time, though.
But you're in a bunch of different bands, aren't you?
That's true. Yes.
What are all your bands?
Nine bands.
What are all your bands?
Oh, man. So Chris Fox, Boss's Daughter.
It's just me and a guitar, a tape recorder, and some words. I'll play some chords to fit the mood, and I'll think of you so nothing hurts. Someone has already done this, but that's around.
Boss's Daughter, Vampirates, Suck-a-Punch, 12-Gauge Facelift, the Randy Savages.
Oh, I saw you with Rotten Blue Menace in Palmdale, California with AP.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Good to see you again. I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah.
The glasses are not
hang
there.
On. I can get part of the way there.
There we go.
Yes. Now it's all coming together.
My Macho Man, whatever this thing is
He's
called.
donning the fluorescent green.
I have to say, you guys
print Macho Man headband.
It doubles as my COVID mask.
Nice.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Coming in handy now.
You guys were a ton of fun to watch, by the way.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun to play in that band.
I can imagine.
Who else? Let's see. I did a project called This Band Fucking Rules. It will live again at some point, but we did a song a day for a week and then we played a show on Saturday and then recorded all the songs on Sunday.
Wow. Sounds like a pain in the ass, honestly.
That was actually a lot of fun. And it was cool because there were no rules to the songwriting. So for a while we were just everybody gets a solo in every song. Yeah. Just to get comfortable playing together,
So why do you then, instead of having one project and rotate members, have 9 different bands?
That's a weird question.
I mean, wouldn't you feel bad about kicking people out of the band and being like, I'm going to get somebody else? I feel like bands are like marriages and people get jealous and, you're probably doing it with a lot of your friends and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah, I mean, Vampirates, I've been in that band since I was 18, and I'm 36 now. And it's, those two dudes have been my best friends forever. Yeah. So that's not going to change. Yeah, I don't know. We just kind of we found the right dudes to make the right bands, I think. Yeah. And it's a lot of them just have longevity. None of my bands have been through major member changes or anything like that.
Right. And you didn't feel like kicking
the Randy
somebody
Savages, actually. The Savages is one of those bands that we've kind of had a rotating cast. It's more Jessi and Nick. It's their project, and I just kind of play when I can.
Yeah.
And Jamie, our drummer for Boss's Daughter, plays drums on some of the shows, but not all of them. And it's just, so it's like whoever wants to dress up like Macho Man at the time, basically.
And doesn't everybody want to dress up as Macho Man? I find it hard to believe somebody would turn that down.
Yeah. It's a good time.
It's always a good time. That's Mrs. Anarcho-Punk's. One of Mrs. Anarcho-Punk's favorite bands is the Randy Savages. I've
awesome.
Walked in a few times with her jamming out to some Randy
There should
Savages.
be some new music coming from the Savages this year sometime.
All right. Awesome.
So that's an exclusive.
That's an exclusive.
Dying scene first.
That's right. Sorry, Jessi and Nick, I announced it.
There's only like 3 people that listen to this anyway. Don't worry about it. All right, let's move things along. Mayfield, New York natives, Totally Gnarly sent in an email probably a few months ago at this point, asking us to check out their new full-length Tales from the Ripped. I did, and I decided I was going to put a song on the
all right.
episode 21 just for them. This one's Common Ground. What are we calling that one, Bob? Power Pop, I think. Chris, you weigh in on this. You're smarter than us. Power Poppers, Totally Gnarly, Common Ground is the name of the track from the 2019 full-length Tales from the Ripped.
As far as genre goes, I just kind of look at music as if it's good or bad. I don't really care.
I don't even know if it's power pop. I don't know.
But it was good. It was good.
Yeah. There's I think it's a shorter full length. I can't remember it. Maybe like 10 songs. And of course they're fast, so it's not a very long one, but it's very enjoyable. It goes quick listening through it. From upstate New York. I assume anything that's not New York City is upstate New York. I don't know. I have no clue where the fuck Mayfield, New York is.
I think that's accurate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I live in Reno.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I had actually told these guys, because I try and send bands, a little follow-up. If they send in an email and we play them on the show, I try and send something later saying, oh, yeah, you were on the last episode. Here's the link. I don't always get around to it because I'm a busy man. But last episode, I was going through and emailing the bands, and I had just put these guys on this playlist, and I had accidentally told them that they were on episode 20. And so they listened to the whole episode and hit me up, and they were like, hey, we listened to the whole thing. We weren't on there. And I was like, dude, I'm going to start telling tons of bands that they're on the episode.
Our ratings will go up.
Clicks.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be my new racket.
That's funny.
Just start emailing bands.
You were on the show. Here's the link.
They would have been
blast email.
They would have been great for the last episode because they are a Mean Jeans type of band. They're, a bunch of their songs are like joke songs. They have a single from like 2012 or 14 called "Poop in My Pants," and there's the chorus is literally that. There's poop in my pants or something. They're an and they sound Misfits-ish or esque. I don't know. It would have been a fun little band to have on the last album. But guys, if you're listening, do a tour with them. I think that would be a great tour. Totally gnarly with Mean Jeans.
And I feel kind of bad for them because now they have to sit through 2 episodes. They really don't even want to sit through the one. They just want to hear when their song's played, hear what people say about them. They sat through the whole thing and waiting to hear their song on the last one and didn't. I almost toyed with putting them as the closing song for this episode to make them. And I figured that was a dick move. So I figured I would put them in the first chunk of music.
Put them as a closing song.
You're such a nice guy.
Cut it halfway through and then use the second half as the opener for the next one.
Yeah. Kind of a dick. All right, look, I'm done degrading our listenership and the bands that support us. Let's move on to some news. From DyingSeed.com, we'll read to you. We're still waiting for Fed Mike to approve. All right, so as you know, with everything these days, Record Store Day 2020 is no exception. It was also postponed due to coronavirus. I like saying, COVID-19.
Yep.
How about COVID-19? It makes you sound classier. Record Store Day organization has changed this year's event to kind of accommodate with the times. So originally it was pushed to late June. They decided that might not be the best way to do it and decided instead that they were going to spread it across 3 Saturdays in 3 consecutive months. So they're going to now be August 29th, September 26th, and October 24th. So each day will have a different bundle of exclusive releases and presumably draw from previously announced Record Store Day lists. So cool. I think it's probably a good plan, kind of limit how many people are showing up at any given time. But I don't know. With a bunch of different bundle exclusives, you might get the same amount of people at each one of these events. What do you guys think? Bob, you're into vinyl, aren't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like super into it, but I inherited my grandfather's and my dad's records, and I've got quite a stack of my own, to the point where I have to buy a some type of storage for them because I've got 4 bins overflowing and just shit stacked in the living room. So, I've already got plans to go to the Sardine down in San Pedro. That's that bar I always mention, owned by the dude from Toys That Kill and Joyce Manor.
Yep.
And I know they're having a rough time right now. So I figure once this is all over, I'll go there, and they've got a great selection of old classic punk records, and so I'll go pick up a few things. I'm in need of something new. I think the last new vinyl I got was Clowns Nature Nurture. So I'll go pick up a few records and support them. That's really my only plan for Record Store Day.
Christopher?
I am usually on tour during Record Store Days, so I haven't really gotten to participate very much. But I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. And what about like vinyl in general?
I like records. I haven't, again, since I've started touring like full time, I haven't really been able to buy records.
Yeah.
But the last record I got actually was that Mercy Music album we were talking about earlier.
I was gonna buy a Boss's Daughter vinyl LP, but they're $40, Chris.
Well, that's that. No, you're thinking of my solo record.
Oh, is it? All right. Do we have Boss's Daughter on vinyl?
I don't think we did the Boss's Daughter thing yet, but the next record will come out on vinyl, and we did a 7-inch. We have a 7-inch record.
I think what might be a good idea for you, though, Chris, is if you get extra vinyl made of your bands, and then when you're on tour, trade them to other bands, vinyl for vinyl, and then it's like you're getting them at a discount, so you don't have to pay full price, right? Like, I think
that's true. That's true. Sometimes you do come home with a little collection of records.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. And it's like good memories of the tour as well. Like that's
absolutely, yeah. I can definitely look through my record collection and be like, oh yeah, this town on that tour.
Yeah,
and blah 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 blah.
I started buying records of the bands that I interview, so I'm like, oh yeah, I interviewed this band and that band.
Yeah. And I always try to buy records from bands at shows that I see if that's a possibility.
Yep.
As opposed to wherever giant corporation place you buy them.
Amoeba, which closed.
Yeah, where do you not buying them?
They're independent though, right? Weren't they?
They were, but they were.
I think they're just moving. Actually, is what I read.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
and I think it was kind of already planned. I think they're just doing it a little sooner than normal. Sam Goody, is that where you buy it?
Tower Records, actually.
Tower Records. Tower Records was the thing.
Yeah, we're probably showing our age. Yeah, so I was pretty excited about Record Store Day. I've just started getting back into vinyl, and it's good to see that now I have my choice of dates, because sometimes I can't commit to a certain specific date. So if you are also into vinyl and have the means, I highly suggest you get out and help support some of these businesses, because I'm sure when they open later on this fall, they're going to be needing your support.
Yes.
So get out there and do it. And on with more news. Public Serpents.
One afternoon, I took a walk to Tucson Square.
Public Serpents released a new video for Crust Punk Girl, which is their take on the Dead Milkmen classic track of a similar name, Punk Rock Girl, which was one of my favorites growing up. Philly Punk's Dead Milkmen. So the video is pretty amusing. It features Squirt from Choking Victim. And I don't know. I wanted to add this story because I was a big fan of Punk Rock Girl and the video by Dead Milkmen. You guys saw it, right?
Yep.
You're not that young.
Oh, I love the Dead Milkmen.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in Philly too, so they were pretty prevalent out there, and I knew a lot of the references in the song, and had been to a lot of the stores and shops and everything that they referenced, so it was even more amusing for me. Bob, you said you like Dead Milkmen, all right? Right?
Yep.
We've talked about this, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. We have.
Yeah, I liked the song too. It was pretty good because it is pretty much kind of set to the same tune and everything, but it's Crust Punk Girl, so it's a lot more disgusting because Crust Punk Girls are a little Is that bad? Can I say that?
But
See,
not
this
the
is why
girl
I didn't
in the
want to
video.
show my face. No, the video is fine. But yeah, check it out. I thought it was pretty cool. You can probably Google Crust Punk Girl and find it just about anywhere on the internet. Of course, you can't find it on dyingscene.com because the website's still not up.
Well, when is it going to be up?
Fix the site, Dave.
When's it going to be fixed?
So last I heard, we have migrated servers to a new server, and we are currently just restoring the information. I don't know.
Yeah.
fucking know. So I heard it's still being worked on, and we're getting closer.
Okay.
Is the official story.
Interesting. I actually do think we should do that with the podcast as well. Libsyn's a pain in the ass. I got a new server for the other podcast, and it's like so easy. So we'll talk about that later because nobody wants to hear about that shit, but we're going to do the same thing.
Good call. They probably don't want to hear about that, but they probably do want to hear about the mariachi alter ego of the Bronx.
Yes.
Mariachi El
Yes.
Bronx has announced the release of a double LP titled Música Muerta, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2.
That was great pronunciation.
The release- You like that?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've actually got to put it to use.
Yeah.
The release contains 25 total tracks, including 10 previously unreleased songs, demos, TV themes, live sessions, and a few covers. So head over to Bandcamp, Spotify, everywhere that you would stream music, and I would highly suggest putting that on because the talent that's on display from guys that are from a genre that is supposed to be not talented musically and just smashing instruments. They show a lot of very like a wide array of musicality.
Well, and the way they did the covers of the songs are in a very wide array, right? Like, so the first one, I don't know about you, but I was only able to listen to the first 30 seconds of each song through SoundCloud or whatever it was on. But the first one was like very mariachi, like flamenco style guitar playing, very talented. And then, so I'm listening, I'm like, oh, okay, this is skipping around. I'm only getting 30 seconds. And I think like 4 songs in, I'm like, they're doing like wiki scratch, like record scratching, and then it like becomes like hip hops and like electronic beats and stuff, and then like back to like mariachi. So it was a pretty eclectic way to cover or redo their own songs.
Yeah, I fucking love it, and it's mariachi music just makes you kind of feel good. I don't know about everybody
I have a
else,
friend in a band, and he does like some live TV shit for a bunch of bands out in Santa Clarita Valley. But it's called Pico de Gallo Band, and they're like a punk rock surf band. But he plays mariachi and like flamenco style guitar, man, and they shred. They're so good. Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I really could see them doing something like this because there's not a whole lot of other bands to fill that genre.
Chris, you play the trumpet. What about, you ever think about branching off into mariachi? You could do mariachi El Boss's Daughter.
I haven't done that yet. I'm not that good at trumpet, but I do love that, like, they're legit. Like, they have been embraced by legit mariachi musicians and like flown down to Mexico for crazy festivals, and that band is awesome.
Yeah.
And the Bronx too, but
yeah. I know, I almost like Mariachi El Bronx better than the Bronx. Is that a bad thing to say? I shouldn't be saying these things. That's why I shouldn't show my face.
It's all right.
I don't know how upset they would be. I think they'd be okay.
My favorite song from both of them was the I Would Die For You cover. That was fucking brilliant. And I have listened to it quite a few times. I fucking go download this music, guys. Give them some money for music. I'm sure they could use it. I'm sure most musicians can use it. So, Música Muerta, Volumes 1 and 2. It's a winner. All right, let's move on. Bob, this next one I inserted into the news strictly for you.
Thank you.
I know how you like it when I insert things. So this weekend, well, I guess probably by the time you hear this, it's going to be a week or two ago, Jessi Michaels of Classics of Love.
People said that the oil was cold, and the old gods are pushing up mode. We strung up our instruments
Classics of Love, Common Writer, and Operation Ivy, revealed that he is working on new music and likely recording demos of new tunes. Oh, can't say music twice in the same sentence.
So,
it's uncouth.
You said he posted this on Instagram, correct?
He is playing, well, if you'd let me finish, Bob. He is playing with Sharif Dumani of Exploding Flowers and the Alice Bag Band, as well as Peter John Fontes of Los Nauticos. And yes, he announced that via Instagram.
Okay.
He posted a short video of those three recording. Apparently, they're recording to tape, analog tape.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that something that you can do still?
I mean, it's something I tried in high school and sucked at doing, so I'd imagine you could still do it. I wonder, I mean, there might be some benefits to it, right? I know, like, what's his name? Vincent Gillian or whatever from Breaking Bad and whatever else he did. Like, he recorded all that stuff on, actual tape, whatever the hell it is that they use in film, because he likes the feel of it better. So there might be something to do with audio quality or just the sound that comes out from it in general.
I don't know. I don't know about this whole... I know a lot of bands are releasing, like, putting their music on tapes.
Yeah.
And I don't know about that.
Supposedly, recording to tape offers a warmer tone. It's using analog gear. It's just the old way of doing things, and people like it.
It's funny, though, that you would say, like, it offers a warmer tone, and that's why people do it, because we're in an age of digital music where, like, people specifically take the warm tone out of music and try to get rid of it as much as possible and make it, clear and tinny with some weird heavy bass on the end, and, like, all that warm middle end goes away. So, but I guess it would probably be only, indie bands and rock bands and punk rock bands that are going for that sound anyhow.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah. I
mean, I don't really know. It's what, Jack White started all that movement again, right?
I don't know. I'm not very familiar with that, but I am a little disappointed to hear that he's not doing more Classics of Love, because I think Classics is an extremely underrated band.
That album is incredible.
It is, I would say, equal to Operation Ivy's energy. It is in no respects any worse. When you listen to it, you're not like energy's way better. Like, if anything, energy's more nostalgic because it was around when I was a kid. But I listened to it, I'm like, this is just as fucking good. I mean, it's still political. It's still got great lyrical content. The structure of the songs, the musician quality of it. I mean, he even captured a similar sound to what Operation Ivy did recording-wise or sonically. So I'm a little bummed, but also I wasn't a huge fan of Common Writer, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he'll do with this. Exploding Flowers doesn't really have that type of sound from what I heard from them, but what was it, Los Nauticos or they're a more like punk rock ska band, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. I'm excited no matter what, but I am disappointed that it's not more classics.
See, I'm glad I had you guys here, because I don't know anything about recording or warm sounds or tones.
I looked for it on Instagram. I didn't see it, so I'm going to dig deeper. I wonder if he just posted it as like a story and it was, gone forever after 24 hours.
It might have been. I don't know how all that works. It seems like a pretty poor functionality. You record something and it's only there for 24 hours. If you miss it, oh well. But I guess there's some draw to it.
Yeah.
All right. Moving things along, Laura Jane Grace has posted links to 3 tracks by Angela Baker.
On the demographic, I'm accepting without question. My believing's in suspension.
Angela Baker, quote unquote. The tracks are most likely unreleased Against Me songs. Among a series of posts, Grace stated, "This is so messed up. This band sounds exactly like Against Me circa 2007. How do you say
2007. 2007.
2007. What the fuck? I'm so pissed off. Who is this Angela Baker? So, I think, obviously, she was just being a wiseacre.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the songs were fucking awesome. I was so stoked. One of my favorite bands ever is Early Against Me. So I was very happy to get some new Against Me tracks.
It would have been awesome if it was her new music. That's all I have to say. Like, it's cool that it's Old Against Me, but it would have been cool if it's like, I'm going back to this style. This is the new music you're gonna get from me. That would have been exciting.
This is it now. I don't know. I don't know why these weren't released before. I have no concept of why bands would have songs that aren't released or are released under a different band name.
I saw Laura Jane Grace post a thing saying that the record label owned the masters, and that's why they were getting secretly released under a Not Against Me name.
Gotcha.
There you go.
But I could be spreading rumors too,
Yeah, who knows? We do it all the time.
Unsubstantiated rumors.
Ooh, nice work.
Fuck it. Just say what you want. Who cares? No fact checking on this show.
Yeah, right.
But
I'm using my phone to record this, so I can't look up facts.
Who cares? Who gives a fuck about facts these days? But yeah, nice little treat, especially given that there's nothing to do. I'm glad that some bands are doing that, going back and releasing some previously unreleased tracks just to give somebody something to do.
And piss off your major label.
Oh, yeah, right. So that about does it for the news. I'm ready for some more music. Some of the news these days is kind of depressing, even in our scene, because you wish there was more, and there's just really not much there. So
yeah, just this festival canceled.
That's
canceled.
the news.
I know. I had them all. I was going through every episode. I go through the news to look.
Some news I got through emails was your postponed show that we rescheduled for September is postponed again until 2021. Like, great news.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere, and I don't like to even look at it. So I just kind of removed all of that from the possibilities of inclusion with the news. So let's get back to music. That's always happy. Music always makes me happy. Next up, this trio is from Chicago, Illinois. They've been around since 2012. This is the Damn Tracks with Dark Enough to See.
Well, it's just dark enough to see all the empty things we'll leave in this house. We've cleared out, but it's filled with regret. And honestly, we've had our parades. And it's just dark enough to see that the empty things we leave are the brightest stars that we have ever known to exist. We filled ours with ghosts, and we will always long for problems that will always seem to haunt us, and we'll always search for our way out. Whoa, just bright enough to sleep. We can sleep here for days. It's just like we're meant to lay here under our golden stars and with our golden sun. Well, it's just bright enough to leave this town behind. We could search all day and leave our troubles here in the shade. We'll find the answers we'll never need, and we will always long for problems. They will always seem to haunt us, and we'll always search for our way out. Whoa, bright enough to see all the empty things we'll leave in this house. Though we'll never change our minds, we can leave this place and everyone we like. Well, it's just bright enough to sleep, to dream another dream, to walk somewhere we go, someplace we've never been, someplace we could be complete.
So see, I put them. You guys, and you don't understand that there is a rhyme to my reason here. I put these guys right after the Laura Jane Grace and Against Me story because I think they have a little bit of Against Me sound to them. Maybe
enough.
mixed with the Loved Ones. Against Me / the Loved Ones. That fair assessment?
Fair enough.
Get any pushback on that?
Yes. No, I'm cool with that. This was, I will say, my favorite track of the episode that I listened to. Not that any of them were bad. In fact, there was a lot of good ones on this one. But I think this was my favorite. So
it was. I've been listening to that whole album for about a month now, and it's. I don't know if you guys checked out the whole album, but it's 22 tracks. The whole fucking album is 22 tracks. The LP is called Second City is Burning. I struggle to even call it a full length because it's like it's like an extra full length.
Yeah.
22 tracks. Chris, when are you going to put out a 22 track album?
We've got 16 new demos for a Boss's Daughter record that was supposed to be recorded already, but again, canceled.
That's the theme. That and
postponed.
Fifth wave,
I don't know, whatever.
Fifth wave ska and canceled shows.
I think 16 is a good upper limit, and that should be your max. I was
It gives us room to cut a few if we need to, or just put them all out. Whatever. Who cares, right?
Yeah. I was listening to Out Come the Wolves, which I talk shit about a lot because it's so fucking long, and I turn it off at like song 14 or 15 every time. And I always say it's like 25 songs, but I think that's Life Won't Wait. It's like 25 songs. So I've got my opinions on splits and really long albums.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got your opinions on many things. Very opinionated asshole.
Yep.
All right, next up is Houston, Texas's premier street punk act, Steadfast, with Old Scars.
We might know where we've been, but we didn't know
was the new single from Houston, Texas's Steadfast. The name of the track was Old Scars. They played here down in one of the shitty little suburbs of Denver probably about a year ago, and it was a really odd lineup because a few bands dropped. There was no bar. They shut the bar down. It was like the other bands that played were like, one of them had the keytar. The whole thing was just weird, but they were the highlight of that night for me, and I left that show very impressed by them, and I fell in love with them that night. And they have a new single, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna fucking play it because they deserve it for playing such a shitty show. Sometimes you just gotta throw them a bone.
I like how the guitar player is a standout of your shit show. Like that is just definitely contributing to the awfulness of it.
Yeah, and it's not even like I'm not even talking shit about a guitar. It was the music style. It was not.
Well, sure. Have you ever heard anybody play a guitar and been like, dude, I don't like guitar players?
Chris Fox played a show here in Denver with a band that has a guitar player.
I was like, are you sure you're not thinking of the show that we played? That was a good show.
Not the
that
same
actually
one.
Was a good show.
Yeah, there's 2 guitar players here in Denver.
Yeah. A good one and a...
Yeah. So, yeah, I was very impressed with them from that show. But that was a very weird show. I had to like go out in the parking lot and slam beers in between, not even in between sets, in between songs, man. Like with the bar. Why is the bar shut? What the fuck's going on here? Where am I? Fuck. This place is weird.
I mean, all the bars are shut right now.
Well, yeah, but this was 8 months ago, 10 months ago. So, no excuse.
In the before time.
Yeah, what are we going to call that? What should we call this?
Pre-CV19.
Pre-CV19. Okay. I like it. We'll go with it. All right. Let's keep it moving. I was very proud of this next band. I told Bob he should listen to this next band
and
all
I did.
week long. I don't know if he did or not.
No, I did.
But after a couple years of silence, Wilmington, North Carolina's Steve Buscemi, the band, not the actor, is back with some new music. This one's Fuck Rock and Roll.
Nothing ever could come to fruition. Just an endless cycle of cause and effect. A blanket of nonsense, a passing religion and shit. All the things that this pattern is spewing. Generation of miscreant kids. Millennial factions are bruising and losing because we are young and we're dumb and we're headed to the grave. It's a life we are living. Popping pills, going speed just to stay awake. Always. Fuck rock and roll, I don't get it. It's a life of regrets if you let it. Using, abusing an open grave with my friend. Oh, darling, it's all the same, just a fuck fest. Assume my position and brace yourself. The long run be wrapped to the bottom is where we all live. In the blood, in the bone, and the soil. This hell they made us fun for a bit. So bring down the capital, it's all the capitalists. We are young and we're dumb and we're headed to the grave. It's a life we are living. Popping pills, not a speed, just to stay awake. Always. Fuck rock and roll, I don't get it. It's a life of regrets if you let it. Using, abusing, and open grave with my friends. We are young and we're dumb and we're headed to the grave. It's a life we are living. Popping pills, not a speed, just to stay awake. Always. Fuck rock and roll, I don't get it. It's a life of regrets if you let it. Using, abusing, and open grave. In an open grave with my friends. In an open grave with my friends.
That was skate punk act Steve Buscemi, not the very excellent actor. I like Steve Buscemi. I'm a fan. I don't know. He's kind of a weird looking dude, but I like his acting a lot. I like the band even better, and it's even more impressive that it's a one-man band. That's Jesse Andrews from Wilmington, North Carolina. I think he's originally from New York, but last I heard he's from Wilmington. And that was from the brand new LP Stoked. The name of the track was Fuck Rock and Roll. Try looking up the band on Google. Google Steve Buscemi, see what you get back. I'm sure.
Yeah, good luck.
The band's not going to be the first. But I fucking love that guy. Like, the music is, when you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah, it's just kind of like a normal punk band. But then when you realize it's a one-man band, it kind of ups the ante a little bit. You're like, oh, fuck, that actually is pretty impressive. And the music, I think the music is secondary to the writing. I think the writing is maybe not quite up there, but in the ballpark of Jason Shevchuk of None More Black and... All right. Jesus, a few other bands.
I had no idea how to say his last name.
Shevchuk. It's hard to say it together. Jason Shevchuk. It's a hard name to say. But yeah, I think the writing is really good. The music, I think, is excellent for him playing everything. And I'm very excited to have him back. Bob, did you listen to it all week?
Yes, I did. I didn't listen to it all week, but I listened to the whole album. And my decision is that there are some people who aren't meant to be in bands. They're meant to be in one-man bands, because if they were in a band, they would probably be constrained by trying to write so many different things or throw weird shit in, like Jeff Rosenstock from Bomb the Music Industry. He's better by himself than he is in Bomb the Music Industry, in my opinion. And then there's the band Say Anything, and that guy Max Bemis did some stuff with other people, and I don't like him that much, but he does very interesting and unique things with his music. And so there are some people who are just like musically on another level and can orchestrate a whole band in their head with weird timing signatures. And not that he had any of that stuff, but he threw in like some really cool chants, in that first song there. And he threw in like a lot of just like quick changes to other styles of music. And so I had a lot of fun listening to it.
And speaking of people that can, like a one-man band, Chris and I kind of mentioned it earlier, our friend John Underwood, he does something similar, but he does it in real time. He records, and Chris can speak to it more intelligently than I can, but like he'll lay down like a little bit of a drum beat first and record it and put it on a loop, and then he'll scramble and pick up his banjo and play that while he's recording it and looping it over the drums, and just he keeps layering it in real time while you're watching him, and it's just fucking mind-boggling. And by the end of it, he's got all the instruments playing. He grabs the microphone, he gets up and just starts fucking screaming. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. So I really have a good respect for people that I have a respect for anybody that can play an instrument, because I'm so fucking illiterate when it comes to that. But when it's somebody like that can just pick up anything and play it, fuck, man, that's impressive. And Mr. Chris Fox is starting to add to his repertoire. Is trumpet your most recent instrument?
Not really. I mean, I've been playing it more than before, I guess. But I mean, I picked up horns in elementary school band, 6th grade.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I started on trombone, and then the substitute teacher showed up, and we all traded instruments for fun. So I picked up a little trumpet, in that regard, and so I can kind of dabble, get my way through on both, and record stuff, but I don't perform live on those instruments very much. Trombone, I'll play with John Underwood. I'll play some trombone with him once in a while.
I've synced it.
So you sing and play guitar.
Correct.
And I'm assuming you play bass if you play guitar.
Yeah.
Do you play drums?
I play bass in 12-gauge facelift.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I do not play drums very well.
Do you own a set of drums?
I don't.
Okay.
I do. I want to, though.
Okay.
I would like to if I had the space or whatever. My van's not big enough to set up a drum kit.
Do you play...
It might be.
Do you play guitar?
I don't think I've ever played a guitar. No, maybe once I've played one.
Okay. How about the keyboard, though, or piano?
I can, dabble on it, but I'm by no means good.
Okay. So you've got like one or two more instruments to be there to the one-man band.
Yeah. I mean, I could play like a kick and snare at the same time pretty well, but once you bring in the cymbals, like you bring that third limb, and it's like... too much. So
you could get there. There's a. Do you ever listen to Fall of Troy?
I haven't. No.
Okay, they're like an old like mathcore-ish band from like 2008, and the singer Thomas Eric. He used to play drums and then switched to the guitar and then was just an insane metal guitarist. And everyone's like, how do you play so fast and sing at the same time and keep this all in your head? And he's like, well, when I was a kid, I played the drums, and playing the guitar is just like playing the drums. And in my head, I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about? But then once you get into like all like the tapping and stuff, you're like, oh, there is like a lot of melody to tapping the neck of your guitar and like the strings. I never viewed it like that. But there definitely is that there. To me, it's very different, but I can see the analogy there.
I heard Dave Grohl get interviewed once, and he was talking about the similarities between drumming and guitar and how he approached like the lower strings to be the more like the drums, like the kick and snare, and then he'll use the higher strings as cymbals to accent things.
Interesting.
And I thought that was kind of a neat approach that just a guitar player wouldn't think of that, to like separate those two areas of sound.
Absolutely.
As
I'm going to listen to music like that a little bit now and see if I can't grasp that, because I mean, that's an interesting, right? Like if you're just playing some typical chords and then there are like some changes to the riff, you throw in like a high note or a squeal or something, like that will signal and denote the change of it
to accent,
which is exactly
one
what
or something. Yeah.
So that's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, I can play a mean set of desk drums, like with my thumbs on the desk.
Yeah, I like the steering wheel.
Oh yeah. It's very similar. Very similar. I'm a little more prolific with the desk, but I convert pretty well to the steering wheel.
Hell yeah.
My wife's not a fan.
No.
Only at stoplights when it's safe.
Of course. Yeah. Nowhere else. So we were kind of done with the news, but I wanted to insert another little story here, just almost as an afterthought, because we've been talking so much about shows that have been canceled and festivals that have been canceled and everything that's been canceled and how much it fucking sucks. Fest 19 announced that they were sticking with it. So Fest 19 is proceeding. For right now, it's scheduled October 30th through November 1st. Of course, it's down in the Gainesville area. Right now, it's looking like a stacked lineup, like it always is. Hot Water Music, Gorilla Biscuits.
Always on my head about what I need to do. And all you're looking for is this way till I do. I want to give you my best. The thumb is low, high enough, losing, hooray!
Gorilla Biscuits, Frank Turner, Menzingers, Comeback Kid, Red City Radio, Strike Anywhere, Good Riddance, blah, blah, blah. Tons of people.
Blah, blah, blah.
Direct Hit. God, there's so many. Like, you can't name them all.
That's actually a band.
Direct Hit.
Yeah. You don't know? You haven't heard blah, blah, blah? You fucking poser.
Prince Daddy and the Hyena.
Did you guys ever watch Arrested Development?
Yes, blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. All right,
their lawyer. Yes.
Stupid joke. But yeah, so tons of bands. Of course, I've always wanted to get down there. I don't think this year is going to be a good year to try and make plans for it, because they're probably going to be, I don't know, tentative.
Florida.
Yeah, and isn't that like near hurricane season as well? October, November, isn't that hurricane season? If I remember my East Coast.
We got we had to sleep in a venue one night because a hurricane came through Florida, but I don't remember the time of year that was.
Yeah, I think it's generally in fall, so that fits about right. But yeah, good on them. I'm pretty stoked that they're for now proceeding with it. I hope they do. I really want to go, and I'm pretty jealous because Mr. Chris Fox, you're festing this year.
Yep.
Maybe, hopefully.
I'm gonna play a solo set, and Boss's daughter is playing, and the Randy Savages as well.
The Randy Savages.
You've got 3 fucking sets you're playing. Nice.
Yeah. I'm a busy person at Fest.
Does that mean you get paid 3 times?
No comment.
That's 3 times the exposure. So
you gotta get paid in exposure.
Look, Bob and I are pretty well versed in West Coast festivals. We've been to our fair share. We kind of know how they go. I don't think we've ever been to anything quite like Fest. Probably the closest would be a punk rock bowling, which I still don't think is quite as big as Fest. But I've never been. You're a veteran of Fest. You've been down there how many times? 4, 3, 4, 5?
5, I guess.
All right.
I don't know. I lost count.
Well, why don't you tell us about it, since we've never been? I want to live vicariously through you.
Fest is wonderful. It's probably my favorite festival that we've done. Pooza Fest would be a close second.
Pooza's the one up in Canada, right?
Yeah, in Montreal. It's
Montreal.
It's supposed to be this weekend, but postponed. But yeah, Fest is great. It differs from punk rock bowling in that there are club shows happening all day long as well, and you just get a wristband to wander around to do whatever you want. Go from show to show to show, and I think that that's a pretty cool format because you get to experience a small show, but then if you want to go see the big outdoor festival stage, you can do that at the same time. They do a good job of keeping food and beverages at reasonable prices, and I think that it just that Fest is a wonderful place. I don't know.
What about like the walkability? I mean, like how quickly can you bounce between shows? Is that feasible, or is it like you kind of you're resigned to hitting 3 shows and that's about as many as you can hit?
It depends on how much you want to walk, really, but it's all fairly close.
All right.
I would say the longest distance between venues is maybe a 20-minute walk.
Okay,
something like that.
So like the club shows at punk rock bowling, but more. But they do it all day long. Okay,
correct. Like you could, end up walking quite a distance throughout a day, just bouncing around. But oftentimes, at least in my experience, bands I want to see are together a lot of times.
Yeah.
So you get to kind of hang out or bounce between 2 places that are closer together, or they do a really good job of curating shows that people, I think, would want to see as an individual show as well.
Yeah.
So does it just take place like in the city? There's no gates around it or anything. You get your wristband and you go wherever the fuck you want to go to watch it. And you want to go to Walgreens and pick up a beer and throw it in your jacket. You do that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Crazy.
Yeah, there is a big amphitheater that is in downtown Gainesville that they use, which is rad because that way you get the outdoor festival experience.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's just what happens is the Florida-Georgia football game happens that weekend. The University of Florida's in Gainesville, and they do that football game in Jacksonville, so all the students leave the city for the weekend. So then all the punk rockers come down and use all the dance clubs for punk shows.
Yeah.
And it works out. I think the city of Gainesville probably likes it.
Yeah.
Because punk rockers are actually pretty nice folks and mind their own business and don't really cause too much trouble.
Unless they're really drunk.
Well, college football games.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, yeah.
Very good points. Touche.
And so what about, so you said the Randy Savages is going to be one of the bands that's playing there. Every year down at Fest, they do a Fest wrestling tournament?
Yeah, Tony basically has created his own wrestling federation sort of thing called Fest Wrestling.
Wait, who's Tony?
He is the Fest. He's the guy who does the Fest. He's the main creator of the Fest. And yeah, he's a fan of wrestling, so he decided to start doing wrestling shows. And they do one at Fest every year, and also throughout the year they do Fest Wrestling as well.
And the Randy Savages won last year?
We play. Nikki Savage, our guitar player, singer, songwriter, half songwriter.
That's what it was.
Is the actual wrestler in our band, and he has dropped a few elbows during the event. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, they It looks like a fucking excellent time. I want to go and just shoot that. Like, I want to shoot that part of it. Would be amazing.
Pretty cool. Like, I'm not much of a wrestler. I mean, I watched it as a kid and stuff, but seeing it in person and watching these like people, just it's pure athleticism. Is that a word? They're fucking athletes.
Yes. Proceed.
Like, it takes some serious human ability to do that kind of shit.
Yeah,
it's amazing watching them throw themselves across the ring and smash shit like tables. It's wild. It's wild shit. Jumping off of like huge ledges onto each other. It's fucking wild. Smashing PBRs in each other's faces.
Do they have you guys play like right before or right after?
We have played, they do like intermissions between matches sometimes, and we've played those breaks.
That's so smart that they do that. They're not like, no, just play 10 miles away, you know, on a different day. Like, that's cool that they, you know, like you said, curate things so that you would want to go and see it and it all flows together nicely. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the first year we played, we got to play, and then they did another, like they did the ending part of the wrestling show, and then the band after us was Mac Sabbath. So it was like a nice, like gimmicky
so
costume band hour or whatever. But it was fucking sweet.
So out of all the times you've been there, the 5, let's say 5 times, we'll stick with that. We'll stick with that, and the 5th.
That's got to be right. That's got to be right.
What's your? Give me one good story. What's the best thing you've ever seen there? The funniest thing you've ever seen? Most memorable moment of Fest over the past 5 times that you've been?
We may or may not have thrown a few parties at the hotel after hours, and we, you know, those usually just end up next to the pool with a guitar and just trading songs. Me and my friend Rob, who plays in Chicks Collective, also from She Likes Todd in Chicago, we'll just sit there and play all night long. And oftentimes, you know, other more famous people will wander up and play some tunes or just hang out and drink. And it's those moments are really, really fun because the shows are great and everything, but it's those community moments where you're just like hanging out with friends you don't get to see all year round, you know, or at all anymore. But those moments to me really stick out as the best, you know.
That was probably...
But also getting to see bands that I, you know, never thought I would get to see, like Gorilla Biscuits.
Yeah, and I was pretty stoked to see that they were on there.
Yeah,
they were actually supposed to play a show.
That's a cool, addition for sure.
They were supposed to play a show here with my friend's band, and my friend even like hit me up. He was like, "Hey, we're playing with a really well-known band. If you want photo passes," I'm like, "Cut the shit, dude! Like, tell who is it?" Because I think it was like on a Thursday night. I was like, "It depends."
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, it's Gorilla Biscuit." I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'll be there." And then it ended up being canceled. So hopefully they kind of get back out there because I don't remember seeing them touring that much.
I feel like they do a few one-offs here and there.
Yeah, I agree.
I know they've played Gilman Street a couple times, but again, I'm on tour all the time, so I don't get to go to those fun things.
Yeah, right.
That's also quite the drive from Reno.
Yeah.
Not really. It's about three hours. Something
That's
like
it?
That. Yeah, maybe 4.
Man. Wow, okay. I thought it was
maybe 4 hours.
Further than
depending
that.
on traffic, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah, the East Bay is not too far.
All right. That was it for the news. We just wanted to live vicariously through you. Bob and I have always dreamt of going down to Fest. We talked about it a few times, and I figured if I was going to go to one, and it's Fest 19 this year, I may as well just push it to 20 because it'll probably be a little bit of a bigger bang, I would imagine. Especially if it ends up kind of pushing, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
Next year
they have been doing Fest live streams every week on the Fest Facebook page every Thursday, and they've all been super, super good.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a few of those.
Look out
too.
for those.
Definitely look out for those, and look out for pretty much any band streaming anything these days. There's a bunch of them. I've been watching the Coping with Dystopia, which is folk punk. I've been watching a lot of those. So there's a lot of stuff out there to kind of keep your sanity in check as much as possible. It's not going to happen as much as you would like these days, but there is definitely some outlets out there, and they're all, I don't think I've ever seen anything charged, so they're all free, or 99.9% of them. So get out there and look for it. Keep your mental health up. We need you.
Sean from AJJ has been streaming every day.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you've seen that. Every day he plays a show on Instagram. Yeah.
There you go.
I think he hit 50 last week sometime.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, definitely out there. You just got to look for it a little bit. Do a little bit more work than just buying a ticket. But it is cheaper, so. All right. We're going to kick off this next block of music with something special. Mr. Fox, tell us about this one.
This is a project that Dave, who drums for Vampirates with me, and I did during the quarantine time, and we decided to record a song that we wrote when we were probably 13 or 14, back in like 98 or 99. Now that we're like better musicians and can play in time and together and stuff. So we recorded this song. It's an instrumental song, and it features our friend Mike Young, who plays trumpet in Sucker Punch, and it's called Black Toast Intolerant.
That was Black Toast Intolerant from Reno, Nevada's finest punk rock outfit, Too Corporate, featuring Mike
from
Young
1998
and Mr. Christopher Fox from 1990 something.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. So you guys kind of recorded that remotely, and you had to smash it all together?
Yeah. I actually went down to the venue where Dave works and promotes at, and they have a big giant showroom, so we kept a nice social distance to record the drums and the bass. And then I did the guitars and horns at home, and Mike filmed his trumpet part and sent that to me remotely. And I slapped it all together, and it sort of worked. I'm kind of amazed.
That's amazing. I like how people are adapting to the new circumstances and figuring out ways to do it. And you knew if any genre of music was going to do it, it was going to be the fucking punks that figured out a way to make this work. So excellent job. I think it sounded fucking incredible.
We did it as a part of a benefit show for Dave's mom, actually. There's a streaming event called Merry Anarchy that is based out of Reno. And it's an annual event that they do, but this year they are benefiting Dave's mom. And so we recorded that because she let us rehearse in her house for years, learning how to be musicians. So she definitely has heard that song thousands of times.
That's awesome.
So that's why we chose to do that old project again.
Sweet. Well, thanks for sharing with us.
In 23 years, will we get another one?
Yeah. We'll see if we can get another song going in another 23 years.
For now, we'll listen to some slightly older music. This one is from 2017. From Oklahoma City, this is Big News with Out of Time. that was Out of Time from what I think is the best named album of this episode from 2017's full-length Welcome to the Weird Kids Table. That was the big news. I think my favorite thing about this, so we already touched on the fact that this is ska heavy. And I think that was the last ska song.
I think so.
That was the last ska one. So you guys, if you're not a ska fan, you're at least relieved for the rest of the show. But my favorite thing for that, and I'll probably get a little bit of heat for this, was the little trumpet saxophone fight about midway through, the little trumpet and saxophone battle that they did. Me and my buddy Cody from the Hempsteadies have a campaign going to get more saxophone into punk rock music. So he'll be very glad to hear that. So that was my favorite part of it. Very nice, clean, tight ska. It always makes you feel good. Mrs. Anarcho-Punk and I were cleaning the house the other day. I said, let's just put on some good old ska. It makes you feel good. Gives you energy. Right, Bob?
I'm always down for it. Yeah, this was probably, of all the ska songs on this episode, the most straightforward, just ska, not mixed with crust or emo or anything else with it. And it's great that it's still going strong.
And Mr. Fox, what do you think about saxophone in punk? Are you going to start learning how to play the saxophone?
As long as it's not the alto saxophone.
Oh, fuck the alto sax.
Is there
the worst?
What's the alto sax?
Baritone sax is actually one of my favorite instruments. I really like the tone of a baritone sax. That's why those early Less Than Jake records are so sick.
Oh, really?
Well, that and they're fucking sweet. But
but they had a baritone saxophone player at the time.
They did, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Okay. I don't know the difference.
I'm actually in the market for a saxophone, not for me, but for my niece. She currently is learning to play the clarinet, but wanted a saxophone. Apparently, the two instruments are similar in the way that they are set up. And so,
the fingerings are similar.
Yeah, so
it's my understanding. I don't play either.
That's what my sister told me as well. So she's 8 and she's moving out to California, and so I'm in the market to find her a saxophone so that way she can be happy when she's out here instead of playing the nerdy clarinet.
I would recommend a tenor saxophone.
Okay, I will go with that. Not
it's
the baritone.
It's in between the baritone.
Yes.
Well, the baritone's giant, so like
so it's bigger than her. She'll fall over.
Yeah.
She'll get a little bit of a workout while she plays.
Okay.
Exactly.
Good to know.
All right.
Or the bass clarinet. Bass clarinet's another great sounding instrument.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's all way above me. But you guys know what we haven't heard any of this episode is some emo. Let's hit everybody in the fields with a little bit of Feeny. This one's called Puzo.
You can drop me, honey, I know you will. That won't stop me from feeling this for you. I would regret if I ever left the time when you drove me. You're forever on my mind, honey, I know you well, but I still can't tell if you feel the same. Honey, you know my name. When I hold you strictly as a friend, lacking courage to risk a sudden end. And darling, nothing is perfect, but I swear you're right for me. Should we stop this? Should I voice my plea? Honey, I know you well, but I still can't tell if you feel the same. Honey, you know my name. Honey, I got a question. Do you think you could meet me out of my house tonight?
Brunswick, New Jersey quartet Feeney is the name of the band. Puzo is the name of the track. That is from their newest full length, Between the Bookends. And I think it has a little bit of a Jawbreaker and Jimmy Eat World sound.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
Right?
I was thinking early November when I listened to them, but that's just something I was more familiar with at the time that emo was a thing. Not that it's not anymore, but when emo was big. I was surprisingly enjoying this song. Normally I hear it and I'm like, I'm done with this phase of my life. There are some emo bands I like. I would call Spanish Love Songs, an emo band that I enjoy. But yeah, Feeney was really cool. I dug it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it had a different feel to it than a lot of the emo that I've heard recently. So I'm down with it.
Yeah. It had a really tricky little guitar riff near the end there.
Yeah, and they're only a 3-piece too. So that must have been some studio magic.
Well, I just said quartet, so I'd like you to fact check me on that.
Oh, okay.
They are indeed a 3-piece.
I thought they were a 3-piece.
Yeah, they might be. Who knows? I wrote quartet. You never know. But yeah, so they were supposed to do a Euro tour. I think they were supposed to leave like a week ago, which obviously
guess what? They didn't.
So
canceled.
Anytime you guys can support bands like that, definitely do. I know Mr. Fox is constantly touring.
We're supposed to be on tour right now. But
you're supposed to be on tour. Like, how? Seriously, I've looked at your spreadsheet, your Excel spreadsheets with your tour dates, and it's like it's a lot of days out of the year.
Yeah, I would actually say, based off of being in 9 bands, you arguably have to be one of the people most constantly on tour in punk rock in the United States, right?
I probably. I mean,
the hardest working man in punk rock.
I don't want to make any statements or anything.
But I mean, you've got to be at least easily like within the top 20 for sure.
I would imagine so.
Yeah,
because once you get like to be a better band, you stop touring.
Yeah, you don't need to tour all the time. And and if you're in one of those bands and you decide to start a side project, like that band maybe tours a little bit out of the year. So
Yeah, I really like traveling. Traveling is something that I need in my life, and music also. So combining the two is wonderful.
Yep.
I don't think I'm going to stop, is kind of what I'm getting at. Even though I'm forced to stop right now.
It's only temporary.
It might be good that you were forced to take a break, too, honestly.
I mean, sort of. I'm not really... I guess, we did record that song, but we wrote it 20 years ago. And then, I haven't been productive at all. Just hiking, that's all.
Well, hopefully you can get something good out of it. I'm trying to find something myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think hiking's good. Hiking's such a good time to just like sit and think. How long do you do your hikes for? Like how many miles do you go?
Anywhere between like 4 miles. I usually average about 4 or 5 miles.
Okay, and do you bring music with you or do you just go in silence?
Some days I play a record or two. Some days I don't.
Yeah.
I try not to like have too much noise just because I want to make sure I'm not stepping on a rattlesnake or something.
Yep. No, it makes sense. But so I used to backpack quite a bit, and we would do like,
cool.
5-mile camping trips, but sometimes we'd do like 10 or 12 miles in a day. And like, dude, you get in a groove when you're walking, and like, it's just so hypnotic and so rhythmic. But then like all of a sudden you hit this point where like, I mean, you just kind of clear out the bullshit in your mind that's taking over, and a lot of it doesn't matter, and you start really focusing in on the moment and like your breathing and your pace, and it's almost like a form of meditation, in my opinion, getting out and hiking and doing that stuff, especially if you're by yourself. So,
absolutely.
I think that in itself is, you're saying you're not being productive, you're going hiking. I think that's extremely mentally healthy and productive. It's something I miss because I'm in the city now. I live in Gardena, California, and there are no mountains near me. I can go up to Palos Verdes and do a little hike, but I'm hiking through the backyards of the rich and famous. And so you're not really like alone. You're being bombarded with all sorts of like random people riding horses and people with llamas and ostriches and peacocks and shit in their backyards. So it's not the same thing.
I've probably ran into 20 people in 150 miles of hiking.
That's awesome. So. That's awesome. You're being productive. Give yourself some credit.
Well, okay, I'm not productive musically.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. It happens.
Yeah.
All right, rounding out this block of music, all the way from Israel, this is Free Sergio with Blood Tainted Pen. That one was Blood Tainted Pen from the newest LP, Arrows. That quartet, Bob, that's 4, not 3. This quartet is from Israel.
Yeah, they're a really interesting three-piece. I don't know how they pulled that off.
I want to say the one fact I know is that it's a three-piece. Yeah, some melodic hardcore just to round out that little block of music there. Always good. And it's always good to have bands from other countries. I can't believe we had this many from America.
Yeah, that doesn't happen ever.
No, it's really weird. I got to looking at it, and it is what it is. I wasn't going to do the whole layout again just to add in some more, I don't know, international flavor. We'll get to it next episode, I'm sure.
Sure will.
It happens. It's no favoritism on my part. It's just coincidence. That's all. Get off my back. I know. You're not on my back, Bob. You just look very judgmental. So what are we going to do next episode, Bob?
I don't know. I was going to get back to you with a little bit of a fact check about the Feeney Band, but I'm looking at them right now, and it looks like they got 4 on there. So maybe their first album was a 3-piece, or maybe when I read about them earlier, they had only introduced 3 members by the time I stopped reading and came in to do the podcast with you.
Sometimes Bob likes to try and fact check me, and it usually doesn't work out.
Well, you just said to fact check, earlier and figure it out, and I'm willing to admit I'm wrong. Don't give me shit for admitting I was wrong.
You do it often. You do it very often. What about you? What?
Oh, I was going to say, let's get Jay on for the next episode.
Yeah, we could try.
Yeah, or we could get Jenna Enemy back. I think that'd be fun too.
Somebody. We'll see. Yep. What about you, Chris? What are you doing other than hiking? What are we going to do that's going to make you more productive? We got to find something.
Ultimately, we, in theory, could maybe start having band rehearsal again soon, and then we will finish this Boss's Daughter record that we're working on. That's my number one goal right now, is to get that recorded and ready to share with people.
I'm ready to have you share it with me, even if it's early. You can send it to me.
Well, it's not recorded yet, so we got demos, but yeah.
And what about just while you're at home? What are you gonna do?
Sleep. I've been sleeping a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's I guess that's healthy. I always need to get a little bit of sleep.
I have slept more in the past 2 months than I have, I don't know. Dude, I'm getting 9 or 10 hours a night, but I feel fucking great. Every day I feel amazing.
Dude.
So
I get to sleep an extra half hour. Because I don't have to commute, but my life really hasn't changed that much.
I've been averaging a wake up of about 4 p.m. every day.
He just got up to do this podcast.
I did. Yeah.
That's what time I get off most days. So good job. You're living my dream. All right. Well, let's round this fucker out. Chris, thanks for joining us, man. It was really good to see you, even though now you're dark. I can't really see you anymore.
Yeah, it got a little dark in here.
Yeah. When there was light, it was so great to see you.
The sun's
looking
going
hairy
away.
as ever. I can't wait to see you again in person whenever things open up and you get back on the road. If anybody wants to keep up with Chris, make sure you follow him on all the social media things. Chris Fox, Boss's Daughter, Vampirates. You're really good at social media and keeping up your tour schedule, so it makes it a lot easier for us fans.
Right now, I have one confirmed show, and that is Fest.
Awesome.
And it's the weirdest feeling in the world to just be look at all this empty time.
Yeah, you don't need a spreadsheet this year, my friend.
It's really weird.
Technically, it's
hopefully
3 confirmed
we will
shows.
get to tour. Well, that's true.
Yeah, technically.
You and your 3s, Bob.
All right. Well, everybody, I want you to stay safe, of course, as always. But especially you, Mr. Fox. I always, the highlight of my year is whenever you roll through whatever city I'm living in at that time. So
hell yeah. It'll happen. Don't worry.
I hope to see you again soon. And if I can help book you guys here or anything, let me know. I know people.
Yeah, absolutely.
For now, let's go ahead and put a bow on episode 21. We're going to close this one out with one of my favorite bands of all time. I don't know, probably my top 50. Definitely one of my top 3 or 4 folk bands, folk punk bands. This is Rent Strike. These guys are out of Michigan. Lansing, Michigan, to be exact. The track is from the new EP, Burn It All. Been doing a lot of live streams, these guys have. They're on the aforementioned Coping with Dystopia. So definitely check that out. It's always good to see live performances whenever you can. So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. This is Rent Strike with They Live. Until next time, comrades, stay safe.
Adios.
So there's a movie theater that's behind my eyes, and the people in the audience, they talk all the time, and maybe when I'm older I'll understand why the film keeps rolling on by. And I look at all the billboards and I feel so good, standing tall over the old neighborhood. You gotta buy in someday. Hey, what do you expect? You say fuck it for long enough, and it's gonna start finding ways of fucking you back. You sit in the corner with a beer and a smoke. You smile, you nod, and you laugh at their jokes, but their words are just syllables strung end to end. So you sit in the corner and keep playing pretend. I'm telling you that I've lived in the squats and I've lived in cars. I've stayed in the guest house and I've slept in the yard. But every place is the same funk deal. Every town that I've ever been to, they've all got the same funk feel. So get a pick-me-up bottle, 'cause we both need a lift, and we can stand on the corner and look out at the shit, oh, the shit that they feed us, and they want us to see. The shit that they want us to think that we need. They pervade and pervert us subliminally. Their power is subtle, their power's complete, and everything's coming apart at the seams. No sound's coming out, but I'm trying to scream. We live in a coma, we live in a dream. It's the same damn channel on every TV, and every day is the same exact scene, and I'm sick of staring out from behind this fucking screen.